HOA Karen ruined soccer sprinklers, fined $150,000 and repaired the system. The whistle blew, sharp and final, as the kids sprinted off the soccer field, their laughter echoing under the golden afternoon sun. But in the bleachers, Karen's voice cut through the joy like a rusty blade. "This field is a disgrace," she bellowed, her manicured finger jabbing at the patchy grass. It was a sunny Saturday in Maplewood, a tight-knit suburb where the community soccer field was more than just a patch of turf. It was the heart of the town. Kids from every corner of the neighborhood gathered here, their dreams of goals and glory nurtured by parents who volunteered as coaches, referees, and snack organizers. The field wasn't perfect, with its uneven patches and aging sprinkler system, but it was theirs, maintained through collective effort and modest town funds. For years, the community had poured love into keeping it functional, a place where kids could escape screens and chase a ball under open skies. Karen Whitmore, a recent transplant from the city, didn't see it that way. A real estate agent with a penchant for perfection, she had moved to Maplewood seeking a quaint suburban life, but quickly found fault with everything. The soccer field, in her eyes, was an embarrassment, a blight on her vision of an upscale neighborhood. From her first visit, she'd been vocal, complaining about the grass, the equipment, even the kids' muddy cleats tracking dirt near her pristine SUV. Parents rolled their eyes, dubbing her HOA Karen behind her back, a nod to her relentless push to impose rules where none were needed. At first, where Karen's complaints were just noise, she'd show up at games, arms crossed, muttering about the shoddy sprinklers that sometimes sputtered unevenly, leaving dry spots on the field. "My son deserves better than this swamp," she'd say, ignoring that her son, Ethan, barely played, more interested in his phone than the game. But Karen wasn't one to let things go. She started attending town council meetings, her voice shrill as she demanded upgrades. "This field is a liability. It's practically a dust bowl," she'd rant, waving photos of brown patches as if they were evidence of a crime. The community tried to reason with her. Sarah, a single mom and volunteer coach, explained that the sprinklers were old but functional, and the town was saving for a new system. "We're doing our best," Sarah said at one meeting, her voice calm but firm. "We all pitch in. Maybe you could help with the fundraiser," Karen scoffed, her heels clicking as she stormed out. "I don't do bake sales," she snapped. Behind her complaints, Karen had a plan. She saw the field as prime real estate, a potential site for a gated community or a strip mall, something to boost her property values and her commission. She'd been quietly pitching the idea to developers, framing the field as underutilized, but the town loved their field, and her proposals were met with polite rejections. Frustration simmered in Karen. If the town wouldn't listen, she'd make them. One evening, Karen's discontent took a darker turn. Armed with a wrench from her garage, she slipped onto the field under cover of night. The sprinklers, those creaky relics, were her target. She'd seen them malfunction, spraying water haphazardly, and decided to prove they were beyond repair. Wrench in hand, she twisted and yanked at the sprinkler heads, snapping valves and loosening pipes. Water gushed wildly, flooding parts of the field while leaving others bone dry. She smirked, imagining the chaos at the next game. "Let's see them ignore this," she muttered, wiping mud from her designer boots. The next morning, the community woke to a disaster. The field was a mess, muddy pools in some areas, cracked earth in others. The sprinkler system, already fragile, was now a wreck, with broken heads scattered like casualties of war. Parents gathered, stunned, as kids kicked at the soggy turf, their weekend game canceled. Sarah knelt by a broken sprinkler, her hands trembling. "This wasn't an accident," she whispered, spotting tool marks on the metal. Word spread fast. At first, no one suspected Karen. Vandalism wasn't Maplewood's style, but then Jake, a teenage player with a knack for tech, mentioned something odd. He'd been testing his drone the previous night, filming the field for a school project. "I saw someone out there," he said, pulling up grainy footage on his phone. The video was blurry, But there she was, Karen, wrench in hand, her blonde hair catching the moonlight as she tampered with the sprinklers. The revelation hit like a thunderclap. Parents gathered at the field, their shock turning to fury. She did this, Maria, a nurse and mother of two players, said, her voice shaking. My kids live for these games. This is their safe place. The community rallied, determined to confront Karen, but they needed proof that would hold up. Jake's drone footage was a start, but it wasn't enough for legal action. They needed more. Enter Tom, the town's quiet groundskeeper, a man who'd tended the field for decades. Unbeknownst to most, Tom had installed a small security camera near the equipment shed after a previous incident with stolen soccer balls. I didn't tell anyone, he admitted, rubbing his gray beard. Didn't think I'd need it. He pulled up the footage, and there it was, clear as day. Karen, caught red-handed, wrenching apart the sprinklers with a smug grin. The community had their smoking gun. The confrontation came at the next town meeting, held in the school gym due to the field's condition. Rain pounded outside, mirroring the storm brewing inside. Karen strutted in, oblivious to the trap, her megaphone tucked under her arm as if ready to lecture. Sarah stood at the podium, holding a tablet with Tom's footage queued up. Karen, she said, her voice steady but laced with anger. Care to explain this? The room fell silent as the video played on a projector. Gasps rippled through the crowd as Karen's actions filled the screen, her deliberate sabotage, her careless destruction of the field their kids cherished. Karen's face drained of color, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. This is a setup, she sputtered, clutching her megaphone. You people are just jealous of my vision for this town. The crowd erupted. Parents shouted, kids booed, and even Ethan, slouched in the back, looked mortified. You ruined our field, a young player yelled, tears in her eyes. Maria stepped forward, her nurse's calm replaced by righteous fury. You didn't just break sprinklers, Karen. You broke our trust. You took away our kids' joy for your own selfish gain. Karen tried to deflect, claiming she was exposing the field's flaws to force an upgrade. But the evidence was undeniable, and her excuses crumbled. The council president, a no-nonsense woman named Linda, banged her gavel. We've heard enough, she said. Karen Whitmore, your actions caused $150,000 in damages. The town is pressing charges, and you'll be footing the repair bill. The room cheered, but Sarah wasn't done. She turned to the crowd, her voice softening. This field isn't just grass and pipes. It's where our kids learn teamwork, resilience, where we build memories. Karen thought she could tear that down, but she underestimated us. She pointed to a table where a petition for community donations to fix the field was already filling with signatures. We'll rebuild, stronger than ever. Karen's downfall was swift and brutal. The town filed a lawsuit, and the court didn't take kindly to her sabotage. She was fined $150,000, forced to pay for a new sprinkler system, and ordered to perform community service, ironically, cleaning up the field she destroyed. Her real estate business tanked as clients distanced themselves from the scandal. Ethan, humiliated, begged to switch schools. Karen's dream of a polished suburban empire dissolved in the mud she'd created. As the field was restored, the community came together like never before. Parents and kids worked side by side, planting new grass, testing the gleaming new sprinklers. Jake's drone buzzed overhead, capturing the rebirth for a new video titled Maplewood's Comeback. Tom, ever the quiet hero, watched from the sidelines, a proud smile on his face. Karen, meanwhile, was a pariah. She'd show up to her court-ordered cleanups, head down, avoiding eye contact. Once, she tried to apologize, but the words stuck in her throat as Maria handed her a rake. Actions speak louder, Maria said coldly. Karen raked in silence, the weight of her choices heavier than the mud on her boots. The field reopened on a crisp fall day, the sprinklers humming perfectly, the grass vibrant green. Kids raced across it, their laughter drowning out the memory of Karen's chaos. Sarah stood with Maria, watching the game. We didn't just fix a field, Sarah said. We showed what happens when you mess with our home. The story of Karen's reckoning spread beyond Maplewood, a cautionary tale of entitlement and consequences. The community didn't gloat, they rebuilt. They healed, and they played on. But they never forgot, and neither did Karen, who'd learned the hard way that some fields are worth more than money. What do you think was justice served? Or should Karen have faced a harsher penalty? Share your thoughts below.